Picture this. A single-engine plane over the Atlantic Ocean.
Nope.
Halfway between the Bahamas and the Florida coast. The pilot is slumped sideways in his seat, unconscious, his body pressing against the controls. The plane is in a dive. In the back of the cabin, the 39-year-old flooring salesman in a fishing shirt and shorts kicks off his flip-flops and scrambles barefoot into the cockpit. He has never touched the controls of an airplane in his life. So stow your tray tables, fasten your seatbelts, and prepare for some extreme turbulence, because this is Final Boarding Call.
Ding, 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 ding.
Hello and welcome.
Stole her line. She doesn't like that.
I'm like, how long are we going to do this?
Back and forth for the rest of our lives.
Nope, I hate that. Hi, welcome. It's Final Boarding Call. I'm your disaster-obsessed host, Alice.
And I'm Zach.
It's Zach, guys.
It's just Zach. It's the guy.
If you wouldn't mind rating, reviewing, subscribing, leave a comment, shoot us an email.
Follow us on Instagram.
We don't do anything there. But you know what? I think we are actually going to start doing stuff because we just started fostering kittens. And to me...
No, we're not putting foster animals on. No.
What else are we going to do, Zach? What's your plan for content for the Instagram?
I have no plans, but no plan is better than a completely unrelated topic.
You know what? You guys tell us what you want the Instagram to be. We're here for ideas. We'll brainstorm it together.
That's fine.
I vote kittens. They're really cute. Okay. I mean, what do you guys want us to post? Like pictures of airplanes?
Only the crashed ones. They're here for a bad time.
Good Lord. Ain't nobody got time for that.
Tell me the story.
All right. I need to give a little warning about the sources for this one because this is a little unusual to the normal massive aviation incidents that I cover because I do not have an official accident report, which is usually my primary source when I go to write a story. There is not one of these here. I do have a Mentor pilot episode. I have a bunch of news articles. All of them are in the show notes, but there is no official deep dive report that I could pull from.
Interesting.
So let's go. Before the crisis, you need to meet the people whose lives are about to collide over the coast of Florida. None of them know each other. By that evening, they will all be linked for the rest of their lives. Ken Allen. He is a 64-year-old pilot living in Lake Wales, Florida. He's been flying for more than 3 decades. The kind of guy who will shuttle friends up and down the state and out to the islands for a fishing trip or a meeting, sometimes for a little money, sometimes just because he loves being in the air.
And he loves his friends.
Before he flew, Ken spent 7 years as a paramedic. He worked fires, wrecks, drownings. He delivered babies. Now let's meet Darren. Darren Harrison is 39 years old, and he runs the flooring side of a small family business in Lakeland, Florida. His father started the business in 1974. Darren is the guy in the family who can climb into any piece of equipment and figure it out.
Felt.
He's the Zach of this family. He ran a lawn care company before joining the business and did all of his own repairs on all of the machinery that they used. You have to. His attitude about machines is simple. They all basically work the same.
A bolt's a bolt, I tell you.
You're gonna love this guy,
I've
Zach.
been saying this forever. I've worked at so many like specialty shops where like, well, I don't know how to work on that kind of car. Why? A bolt's a bolt.
Yeah, this is literally his mindset. This is how he views machines. a couple of controls, a steering wheel, a gas pedal.
Yup.
That's it.
Maybe not even a pedal. It could be a gas lever.
He is great in a crisis. Years back, driving home, he and his parents came on a man who was pinned under a commercial mower on the side of the road. His father had just had surgery and couldn't lift, so Darren and his mother heaved the machine off of this man, and he survived.
Wowzers.
But there's something important for us to know about Darren in this story. Darren Harrison, in May of 2022, has a wife, Brittany, who is 7 months pregnant with their first child. It's a girl.
Girl dad things.
And they struggled for years with infertility. So there is a shadow over this pregnancy. Brittany's sister lost her husband to a heart attack when she was 6 months along with their child.
Ooh.
So there's a little bit of
anxiety
about losing a spouse while you are carrying a child. So Darren and Brittany were obviously very intimate with this tragedy that happened. So they know exactly what it looks like when a young family gets shattered in an afternoon. Let's meet the third important character in this story. It's Robert Morgan. He is an air traffic controller at Palm Beach International. 20 years of experience in the tower.
It's a lot of time.
That's incredible.
Especially for it being the most stressful job in the world.
Yeah, this guy can probably handle stress pretty well. So he is a certified flight instructor, a CFI, somebody who teaches other people to fly. On Monday night, May 9th, a colleague calls him. The colleague's kid is sick. Can Robert cover his shift tomorrow? Sure. It's overtime. So Robert wasn't supposed to be anywhere near that building on May 10th. And early in his career at a small airport in North Carolina, he'd already lived through the nightmare version of what was coming. A family of 3 in a private plane couldn't get down through heavy cloud. The airport knew that Robert was a pilot, so they asked him to try talking them down. The autopilot had failed. The father at the controls couldn't manage it. The plane ended up running out of fuel. And it crashed. Robert could hear them as they went down, and there were no survivors. That was the day that pushed him to become a flight instructor, to teach people how not to die.
That makes sense to me.
It's a crazy story. Now, it's today.
It is today.
In our story. It's early May of 2022. So Ken Allen flies a small group down to Marsh Harbor in the Bahamas for a sport fishing trip. I know.
Sounds like rich people stuff.
That's some rich people shit. The plane is a Cessna 208 Caravan. It's a rugged single-engine turboprop.
It's a workhorse.
I'm going to beat you up. Actually, I wrote, think of it as the pickup truck of small aircraft. It is durable.
Wait, so is it Tacoma?
It's reliable. It's built to work out of rough airstrips in remote places.
All right, then.
Yeah. This particular one had spent much of its life on floats, landing on water. So it was set up to seat 6 rather than 9 or 10, which these planes are usually able to carry.
Because it had so much extra equipment for the water landings?
Yes. I believe so.
I'm curious
and
how
there
that
might
changes
also
the
be a
cabin.
weight. My guess is
that
maybe
could be
there's
a
a
weight
weight
thing. Yeah.
when you're landing on water. Its registration, the number painted on its tail, is November 333 Lima Delta, which I just thought was kind of a cool one. Okay, Zach was looking at me like, girl, who did I marry? On the flight down, Darren Harrison, who has never flown and never much wanted to, likes to wear a spare headset and just listen to the chatter. So he hears Ken coaching another pilot about coming in too fast. Darren, who is never shy, keys the mic. Why do we need to watch our speed? There are no cops up in the sky.
LOL.
Yeah,
Like
he's
him.
a funny guy. So Ken explains, airspeed is everything. Too slow and you stall. The wings quit flying and you will drop. Too fast and you can actually tear an airplane apart. Darren pushes, so what's the worst that happens if you go too fast? Ken's answer is blunt. We rip the wings off and we're a lawn dart. A lawn dart.
And you died.
So Darren files it away without much thought. In about 72 hours, it's going to be the only aeronautical knowledge standing between him and the bottom of the Atlantic. It's the morning of May 10th, and it is beautiful. It's clear, crisp, sun everywhere. The fishing group has thinned out. It's 3 men flying home. So we have Ken Allen, who is our pilot, his lifelong friend Russ Frank, who is beside him in the right seat.
Russ.
And then we have Darren, who is in the second row behind him. So Russ is about 70.
Oh.
And he's Ken's buddy going way back. He is not a pilot. Over the years, Ken has offered to let him take the controls, even just for a second. And Russ is like,
nah.
It's a no from me, dog. He trusts Ken completely. The man is meticulous, the obsessive type, really, who won't let anyone else even wash his car. He's the kind of guy that you want flying your plane. So they cross the water at 12,000 feet. Around 45 minutes in, air traffic control brings them down to 10,000. The Florida coast is maybe half an hour ahead, and the flight so far has been completely routine. And then Ken says he doesn't feel right.
Something's wrong.
He mentions a headache. He reaches for a breakfast bar and a drink, thinking that he might just be hungry and dehydrated. Russ looks over and sees a frozen half smile on Ken's face. Do you know what that's a sign of?
Stroke.
Yeah. He knows instantly that this is not a joke. He manages to say, "Stay with us, Ken." What is happening inside Ken's body is one of the deadliest emergencies in medicine. But no one on that plane knows that yet. What they see is a man going quiet at the controls and then slumping against them. The Cessna rolls into a steep, banking dive. It happens very fast. The Caravan's maximum safe speed is right around 175 knots, which is 200 miles per hour.
Yeah.
Within seconds, the plane blows past that. 200, 250. They hit 295 knots.
So it's like 315 on a single engine.
340 miles per hour.
340.
That was a good guess. Yeah. And that is a speed that this airplane...
Should not do.
No. It is falling out of the sky. It's shedding about 4,000 feet in barely 30 seconds, and they were only 10,000 feet in the air to begin with. Darren can feel the force pulling at his face, dragging his cheeks down. And one word surfaces out of a joke from 3 days earlier.
Lawn dart?
Lawn dart. He kicks off his flip-flops. This guy is scrambling forward. He reaches Ken, he looks past him through the windshield, and he just sees water.
Yep. Just blue.
And it's coming up really quick. One thought cuts through everything. What would you think in that moment?
Pull up?
Hopefully you'd think of me.
Oh.
Because that's what I know, I didn't really set you up for that.
Oh.
Like I did. He's thinking about his wife, who is...
Understood. I would be thinking about you.
Thank you.
Except I would have been thinking about you before the emergency.
What a sucker. He's always thinking about me. Well, his wife is 7 months pregnant, and her sister became a widow at 6 months pregnant. So if he dies in this airplane...
Those sisters are fucking cursed.
He literally keeps telling himself, not today. I'm not dying today.
And sometimes that's what it takes.
From behind the pilot's seat, Darren reaches over Ken's slumped body and grabs the yoke, which, if this is your first episode, that is the control column that steers the airplane. It's like a steering wheel that also tilts the nose up and down.
And it's also the yellow part of an egg.
Up front, Russ has a matching yoke in front of him, and in pure terror, he's grabbing it too.
Oh, the guy that never even wanted to touch it. He's like, ah.
Well, I guess almost dying will convince a man to grab something in an airplane. So now both men are pulling, and they are fighting each other because Russ's panic inputs are canceling out what Darren is trying to do. So Darren reaches over and punches Russ unconscious. No, he doesn't. I'm kidding. But wouldn't that be...
Oh, that would be a great
really...
fucking twist of the story.
Doesn't do like this 80-year-old man or 70 or whatever.
Oh, I wasn't even thinking about the age, but
Russ
that just makes it better.
No, he doesn't do that, but I thought that was so funny. Okay. But he does reach over and he gently peels Russ's hands off of the controls. He's
aggressively.
Like, my guy, this is clearly not your hero moment. You let go.
Because Darren is just like me for real.
Real.
You will take this hero moment.
Yeah.
Get off of that, Russ. This is mine.
For real. Russ, you are fucking this up. Love you long time, but let go.
Don't you dare take my moment.
Here is what saves them. And it comes straight out of that lawn dart conversation. Darren knows that if he hauls back on that yoke to stop the dive at this speed, he could rip the wings clear off this plane.
You gotta gently level out.
Yeah, he isn't even sure at this point if the wings are still on. That is how fast they are falling.
Fast. Yeah, they could have been gone already.
So instead of yanking, he pulls back
a little bit.
Slowly. Ease it flat. Even if they keep sinking a little bit, they need to just not be pointing directly at the ocean. The plane has fallen right around 4,000 feet by the time that he gets it level.
So it's down to 6 or there's 4 left?
I think there's between 5,000 and 6,000 feet left.
Okay.
He nurses it back up to around 9,000 feet. But the dive has swung them around. So they came out of it heading south.
Oh, not pointing towards the land anymore?
Correct. They are going basically opposite of Florida. Now, Darren needs Ken out of that seat so that he can sit and fly.
Hey, Russ, I'm sure you can barely stand at this ripe old age, but can you pick this guy up and move him?
Ken is dead weight because he is completely unconscious.
He's not dead. He's just unconscious.
Correct. He's dead weight. Yes. He's 160 pounds, and he is wedged against the controls. Darren tells Russ to just hold the plane level. Russ, you got this. Keep it steady.
Now's your time.
And Darren, who is younger, is going to move the pilot. He's going to move Ken. And Russ, who has spent decades refusing to touch the controls and then panic touched them, does take them. And he manages to successfully hold the airplane. So kudos to Russ.
You're my boy, Blue. Get the reference.
Darren. All right, get the reference, folks. Darren drags Ken back behind the cockpit and he lays him on the floor. Ken's shirt has torn open And Darren sees something that scares him worse than the dive did. A bruise the size of a softball, black and blue, spread across Ken's chest. He doesn't have a name for it. The thought that goes through his head is that Ken's heart has exploded.
It's not an invalid thought.
Darren drops into the pilot's seat and immediately things go wrong. He doesn't know which buttons talk to a radio. When they moved Ken, the pilot's headset got yanked from its socket.
And they had to finding the correct socket out of all of this stuff.
Even worse, the plug shredded.
Oh,
it's completely useless. It's just boop. So Darren grabs another one. There are extras. He grabs another one, and Russ has to physically reach over and slide the microphone down from the top of Darren's head to his mouth because he's like so frazzled that it's like, no, it's that moment where you're looking for your glasses and they're on your face. Then there's the bigger problem. Where is Florida? The dive spun them south, out over open water, away from the coast. And Darren's eyes they land on something. He's always noticed that even these fancy modern cockpits still have one primitive little instrument tucked among the screens. A big old magnetic compass.
Just head north.
Boom. It's the same technology as a Boy Scouts. He'd always thought that it was funny. All of the avionics, and there's still a compass. But right now, he's like, hell yeah, compass. West is Florida. He banks the plane right, and he flies west. That moment of being like, I'm going to turn this plane.
Yeah, I guess I wasn't sure what coast they were on either. So if I said west, I'd be like, you could have been on the west coast of it and then just been heading to Texas, and that wouldn't have been fun either.
No, they were at the Bahamas. They were in the Bahamas.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, I guess you did say that.
He flies toward the coast for several minutes before he gets a radio to work. And he reaches the tower at Fort Pierce, the airport they'd been heading for. And what he says is one of the most replayed transmissions in aviation because it's unbelievable. I've got a serious situation here. My pilot has gone incoherent. I have no idea how to fly this airplane.
Heck yeah. But he said it's so calm and confident.
Well, the controller who takes the call, a man named Chip Flores, has a problem. He can't find the plane on his radar.
He's like, where are you? He's like, I don't know. I'm flying.
Tell me what you see.
I see the ocean.
So he asks Darren to do the standard thing, dial the transponder to 7700, which is the international emergency code, which lights an airplane up on every screen in the region.
Oh, nice.
How cool is that?
Did not know, but that's great.
I know. I think it's really cool. Well, Darren can't because his Caravan is fitted with a glass cockpit, a Garmin G1000.
Oh.
Where the old physical knobs and buttons are replaced by digital screens and menus. And on a system like that, there's no button simply labeled with the emergency function the way that there is on an older airplane. It's buried in a menu, and they have no idea how to, get there.
What are you going to do? Have this 80-year-old dude cycle through technology? It's worst case scenario.
Oh, the very technology that makes this airplane safer for a trained pilot has just made it nearly impossible for an untrained one to call for help. Ay vey. This poor guy, Chip, he tries something else. He brings Darren down to 5,000 feet, partly to see which blip on radar actually descends, and partly on a hunch. So if Ken passed out from something in the air itself, like oxygen starvation at altitude, a little more oxygen might help wake him up.
Yeah. In an ideal world.
Yeah. So this is, we talked about the Helios episode very early on in this, but this is a theme that kind of continues to crop up, and it's very important. You need oxygen.
Mm-hmm.
So the descent creates a new problem. Flying south and dropping down, Darren is drifting farther from Fort Pierce. Far enough that he slips out of their radio range entirely.
Oh.
So contact is lost. For a stretch, no one on the ground can talk to this airplane at all. Down at Palm Beach International, a controller named Joshua Summers manages to pin the caravan on radar. So that is good.
Mm-hmm.
We have our first ping.
They know where it is.
They can see it, but they still can't talk to it. So the controllers improvise. They dig out an old emergency radio, retune it to Fort Pierce's frequency, and haul it into the radar room. A supervisor, Gregory Bettini, pages the one man in the building who might be able to do something to help this plane. It's Robert. And Robert Morgan is out in the courtyard on his break. He's got his shoes off. He is, what is up with it? Nobody has shoes in this episode. Reading a book, and it's actually an FAA handbook on flying float planes.
Okay, so this guy just doesn't take any time for himself.
He's a nerd. This guy lives it.
What's your work? This. What's your hobby? Same thing.
When the page comes over the intercom to get the radar room immediately, for him to get into the radar room immediately, he thinks that it's a prank. The staff kind of goofs around. I mean, you got to have a little fun, I guess, in
especially in the most serious job.
Yes. He puts his shoes on. He walks in. Someone passes him and says, "I wouldn't go in there if I were you." The room is small and it's kept dark. It's basically just walls of radar screens. The supervisor lays it out. The pilot is incapacitated. There are 2 passengers aboard. One of them is flying the plane. None of them have any pilot training. And Robert is the only person in the building who is both a controller and also a flight instructor. So his honest first reaction is, I don't know what to say to this man.
Yeah.
And then he starts talking anyway, because he knows one thing for certain. A calm voice in your ear is worth something when you are alone and at altitude.
And panicked.
With an unconscious man.
Yeah.
On the floor behind you. Silence is the worst. He hits his first wall fast. He's actually never flown a caravan. He doesn't know where anything is.
Gregory hasn't.
No, Robert, our flight instructor.
Oh, has never thrown a caravan.
Yeah, no, he's an instructor and he's really smart and good at what he does, but he's never actually flown this plane, so he doesn't know where the knobs and the buttons and the doohingies are.
Makes sense.
And those are going to be...
Plus, this plane is all updated anyway.
Yes. He doesn't know anything in the cockpit. So you just brought up something really important, actually, because this plane does have that, like the Garmin and all of that stuff. Mm-hmm. And fortunately, this is a room of really smart people. Someone Googles a photo of the caravan's cockpit and they print it out.
Oh, nice.
Unfortunately, it's the wrong model, so they have to Google again and they print out the right one. And Robert spreads the printouts in front of him as if he is looking at the cockpit.
Oh my gosh.
And he starts talking Darren through his own airplane from pictures.
Right hand, straight in front of you, yes. 2 inches to the right.
Yep. Here's your throttle. Here's the screen that shows your height. Here's how you read it. And he throws out the jargon because it
doesn't work if the guy's not trained for it.
Hell no. No. We're going to use terms like beep beep, the boopity doop.
That shiny doohickey.
Yeah, he didn't use that language, but that's what I would need if I were flying this plane. He can't tell a flooring salesman to look at his 10 o'clock 4 miles. So he cuts it to very plain language. Keep the coast off your right wing. The Florida coastline runs almost straight north and south, so just keep flying north. And fortunately, Darren, who is a Florida guy, knows exactly what that means.
That makes sense, I guess.
Yeah. So
it doesn't make any sense to me because they were on the east side.
Well, remember, they got all turned around.
I know, but they didn't fly far enough west to be on the west side of it, right? So keeping the coastline line on the right side of the plane would mean that they were on the west side. I don't know. Directions and stuff.
No, keep the coast off your right wing. So make sure that it's on your left wing, right? Keep it off of your right wing. You don't want the coast on your right wing.
That wouldn't be how I would interpret that, but who knows?
I don't know either, and I don't know where they are. So I couldn't give them directions.
They're in a plane. I told you. I told our listeners too.
Robert's first instinct is to send him to a small airport down the coast. He thinks better of it because this would mean a smaller runway, tighter airspace, no room for error.
And no EMS.
And yeah, in his mind, he's like, there will be much error. So we need to be able to accommodate all of the tomfoolery that's about to happen with this landing. So we have a new plan. Palm Beach International, which is where he is. He's like, fly home to me. So the runway is 10,000 feet long, almost 2 miles of concrete, proper emergency equipment, to Zach's earlier point, and Robert knows every inch of it. It is the biggest target on the coast, and it is a good idea overall. Now, the dangerous part. Flying straight and level is one thing. Turning is another.
He already done did that, though.
It's fair. He's a turning expert now. He did it one time. Come on.
Exactly.
So if you turn too much without correcting, the plane will keep rolling and it'll start to dive. The exact situation that Darren has already clawed his way out of.
Yeah.
So Robert needs him set up well for this. Because there are tall radio antennas just south of the field, he doesn't send Darren straight in. He has him fly north past the airport, and then he's going to bring it around in a long, gentle left-hand turn, and then we're going to line him up to a final approach about 8 miles out. This is, think of a kid. The first time that you were trying to teach them to learn the controls of a car, you take them to a massive empty parking lot. And if there is like a pole in the middle of that parking lot, you're going to have them, you don't want them to find it, so you're going to send them all the way around to do a massive circle around the pole because you do not want to hit the pole. That is essentially what Darren is doing right now in a plane. And then the flaps. Now, folks, if you've been with us for more than this episode, you will know that flaps and slats are very important for both takeoff and for landing. And he's going to need to engage the flaps.
Yeah, one might say they matter.
Yeah.
They have a role.
So here, my accounts genuinely split down the middle. Half of them say one thing, half of them say the other. So I'm going to give you both because I don't know. I wasn't there. So here you go. You're going to get both versions of it. Flaps are panels on the back edge of the wing that swing down to let a plane fly slowly without falling out of the sky. In one version of what happened, Robert walks Darren through lowering them, and the nose balloons upward the way flaps make it do, and to Darren, who has already done one uncommanded climb and dive today, that upward pitch feels like the start of another nightmare, and he flatly refuses to try it again.
Okay.
In another version, it's Robert who makes the call, who feels the airplane getting harder to handle with flaps out and tells Darren to bring them back up. So either way, the decision lands in the same place.
No flaps.
Whether it is Darren
and slats.
or whether it is Robert making the call, it is no, we're not doing it. No flaps. Darren asks if you can land without them. And Robert says you can. You will just be coming in
Hot.
You're going to come in hot. But fortunately, we have 2 miles of runway. And it's a very light airplane.
If there was a place to come in hot, it's here.
Yeah. So fine, Darren says, no flaps. He's not doing that shit again. I love it. Without flaps, the plane wants to come in quite quickly. So Robert starts working the speed down. The Caravan has been cruising around 185 miles per hour, and Robert needs it to be closer to 150 for landing. And he doesn't want it dropping below 125. That's the point where with no flaps, the wings might stop flying, correct? So he walks Darren to the throttle, and he has him ease the power back just a wee bit at a time, watching the numbers. And then the screen goes dark. In the middle of that long turn, Darren tells Robert the displays in front of him have gone completely black. The exact reason for this has never actually been nailed down, but suddenly, this man who has never flown a plane before
Also has no instruments.
No automatic readout of how high he is, how fast he is going. So Robert, instead of having an absolute conniption, does something very clever. He turns the whole approach into a surveillance radar approach.
Makes sense.
A technique controllers use to walk a real pilot down when they also have instruments fail. So Robert's going to feed altitude and heading and speed off the radar scope, one instruction at a time. What that means is that Robert is now the instrument panel. Descend a little. You're at this height, this speed. Hold that. And he gives him commands like that and talks him down the invisible glide path by voice. Darren finds his own backup reference too. He spots a tall building in the distance that his company has actually done flooring work for. This is so... if this story was any more sad...
I worked on that building. I do that all the time. Every time we drive somewhere, I'm like, yeah, I worked over there. I did that.
Well, he decides that if he can get down to about that building's height... Sorry if you guys are hearing that. Sevy's tail is whapping underneath the table. If he can get down to that building's height and hold just above it, he'll be lined up on the runway. A flooring salesman is using visual guide points to set himself up to land this plane.
Not ones that anybody else should use, but he can use these ones.
It's unbelievable. Well, Robert warns him about the last piece. At a certain low altitude, the plane will drop off the bottom of the radar. So below that point, Robert won't be able to see him, and he won't be able to feed him numbers.
It'll be all on you.
Yep. As you get in close, Robert tells him the runway's going to look wider and wider. Pick the nose up just a beat. Keep coming down and ease the last of the power off. And just like that, the blip vanishes from the scope. The radar room goes silent. 10 seconds. 15 seconds. Nobody breathes. And then Darren's voice comes through. I'm on the runway. How do I stop this thing?
Throw it in reverse, Terry.
Robert tells him to run his bare feet up to the top of the pedals and press the brakes. That's where the brakes are. Gently, because he's got 2 miles of runway and all the room in the world. The Caravan rolls out and stops about halfway down. Up and down the airport, other pilots have been listening to this. A JetBlue captain named Justin Dahlmelin.
Hops on the radio. Go Darren! Hell yeah!
Yeah, he does. He had to hold short and wait. And he just watched a man with 0 flight time bring a turbine airplane down in gusty wind.
Something that many pilots have probably not done. I bet there's a lot of pilots that never fly single prop engines.
It's unbelievable.
I could be wrong, but I just feel that's probably a little outdated these days.
Yeah. On another frequency, one that Darren couldn't hear, a tower controller tells an American Airlines crew waiting to depart for Charlotte what they just witnessed. A couple of passengers landing that plane. The American pilot's response is disbelief and then simply, "That was a great job." And then comes the last small comedy. Nobody in the radar room knows how to shut down a Caravan's engine because none of them had flown one.
Is there a key anywhere?
But another controller in the room is a former C-130 pilot, and he knows, tells him to pull all levers back. So Robert relays it, Darren pulls the levers, the propeller winds down and stops. And on the floor behind the cockpit, Ken is starting to come back. He is confused. He is fighting. He is convinced he's still in the air and that the people reaching for him are trying to throw him out. So we're having a medical episode, obviously. Yeah. Emergency crews get him into an ambulance and race him to St. Mary's Medical Center. Darren thinks about calling Brittany and he holds off. She's not expecting him yet, and he can't tell her this over the phone.
Yeah.
And when he finally does call, Brittany will say she took a breath before she answered and braced for it to be someone other than her husband on the line. Her sister had taught her to brace. But it's him. He's alive. So is Russ. And so, barely, is Ken. But he is alive.
And I'm just going to take this moment to say, and that's why I like texting. I would have just texted me, "Hey, baby, everything's fine." And she wouldn't have ever had to second guess it.
I would have just never known.
Because you just don't check, yeah. And we never spoke again.
Oh, man. Well, let's talk about Ken. Because the flight is over, but Ken's
battle began.
Ken's battle is beginning. So at St. Mary's, the ER team's first guess is what we thought, a stroke.
Yeah.
Because weird things were happening with his face. Ken is confused. His speech is slurred. He clearly suffered something catastrophic at altitude. But the scans come back.
No stroke.
Ken has an aortic dissection, specifically a Stanford type A, which is the most dangerous kind. Your aorta is the body's main pipe. It is the big artery that carries blood straight out of the heart to everything else.
And I think that's also the one they call Widowmaker, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Nicknamed?
I've never heard that before, but cool. Not cool. Cool nickname. Its wall has layers, like a hose made of layers of rubber bonded together. In a dissection, the inner layer tears, and blood surges into the tear and starts forcing the layers apart, splitting them down the length of the vessel, like water getting under wallpaper. A type A means the tear is in the section right where the aorta leaves the heart. The worst possible real estate, because that is where branches peel off to feed the brain. And that is the link back to the cockpit. As Ken's aorta tore, the splitting wall pinched off blood flow to his brain. That's what dropped him. The softball bruise that Darren saw blooming on his chest was the outward sign of the catastrophe happening underneath it. The numbers on a type A dissection are merciless. Untreated, it kills roughly half of patients within the first week.
Wow.
And the danger climbs with every hour that passes. Ken's clock started ticking somewhere over the Atlantic. St. Mary's is not equipped for the surgery that he needs. But 6 miles away, At Palm Beach Gardens Medical Center, there's a cardiothoracic surgeon who is
The best.
a man named Dr. Nishant Patel. Patel grew up in a house in Delray Beach with 16 people under one roof.
Wow.
His father's 3 brothers, all of their wives, a grandmother, and 7 kids. So all of these brothers had come from England with nothing after losing their own father very young, and they pulled everything into small convenience stores. Nobody in that house had a college degree. Patel, the oldest of the 7 children, drove himself to Johns Hopkins, through medical school, and into one of the most demanding specialties there is: speed, precision, calm, and teamwork. The length of the operation, he'd say, is tied directly to whether the patient lives. You have to be fast. And with heart stuff, I
believe that, yeah.
When the call comes about Ken, Patel's order is immediate. Lights and sirens, get him here now. When Ken arrives, Patel finds exactly what he feared. The dissection has cut into the blood supply to Ken's brain. Ken is awake enough to FaceTime his wife, tell her he loves her, and that he's going into surgery with about a 50-50 chance.
And she'll be there in a few minutes.
Russ makes it to the hospital. Yes. Looking, Dr. Patel would say, like he'd seen a ghost. He tells Ken a little of what happened, the insane, crazy flight that they all survived, and Ken whispers that he's proud of Darren. And then Russ turns to the surgeon with the line that holds this entire day inside of it. What they did was incredible, but it won't be a good day unless you save this man's life.
True.
To repair a type A dissection, Dr. Patel has to do something that sounds like science fiction. He has to stop Ken's heart. The procedure packs Ken's head in ice.
Okay, interesting.
And then cools his entire body. A heart-lung machine takes over and chills his blood until his temperature drops to about 64 degrees Fahrenheit. At that temperature, the heart stops and the blood stops moving. For every practical purpose, Ken is, for a window of about an hour, dead. That hour is what buys Dr. Patel a bloodless field to cut out the torn section of aorta and sew in a graft, a replacement tube of surgical fabric. It's plumbing, Dr. Patel would say later. You cut out the bad piece of pipe and you put in a new one.
Makes sense to me.
Yep, except the pipe feeds every organ in the body, and every minute past that hour raises the risk of permanent brain damage.
And also regular pipes are at least, easy to handle, and they're fairly, whatever.
I love this.
I'm just saying, I can't imagine, I can solder a pipe, but trying to thread the needle on a floppy piece of tissue is not it for me.
It's going to be a no for me as well. This surgery runs 9 hours.
Ugh.
When it's done, the team slowly warms Ken Allen back up, and the blood starts moving again, and the whole room waits on the one question that decides whether the second miracle actually happened.
Will
his heart start beating?
Oh.
And it does. Ken spends 6 days in intensive care. When he wakes up, he can move, he can talk. Whatever damage his brain took appears to be minimal. Dr. Patel's discharge instructions are essentially no restrictions. He could even fly a plane. But getting back in the cockpit wasn't quick. The FAA put Ken through 17 months of testing.
Oh my God.
Well, you gotta make sure that you can, do a very dangerous thing.
Yeah, but there is no testing when you're already a certified pilot that takes a year and a half.
Well, he had to do cognitive exams, heart scans, imaging. That was reviewed by 6 different doctors before they would sign off on his medical certificate again. In October of 2023, he was cleared, and his first flight back was in the same Cessna Caravan, the airplane that almost became his coffin, carrying a passenger with a particular stake in the miracle, Dr. Patel.
Oh, amazing.
Oh my God.
Should have taken Darren back up too.
It's pretty cool. So eventually all 4 of them, the whole gang,
went fishing together.
stood together in front of the plane. Darren brought his daughter, Mary Margaret, the whole reason that he refused to die that day. Darren actually turned down talk shows, speaking circuit, and he just went back to laying floors.
Yep.
He used to spend every weekend hunting or fishing, and now he stays a little closer to home with his wife and his baby. A self-described hothead before all of this, he found he had a much clearer sense of what was actually worth getting worked up about. And Robert was given the rest of the afternoon off. And the next day, he went flying. There's no accident report on this. There's no probable cause, no list of recommendations. About the only official record the government kept of that day is the stack of paperwork that it took to let Ken fly again. But here's the piece that tells you what Darren actually pulled off. The wind at Palm Beach that afternoon was blowing across the runway, gusting about 20 miles per hour. A student pilot with 20 hours of training, someone months into lessons, very likely would not have been cleared by an instructor to land so low in a crosswind like that. And Darren, who had 37 minutes of flight time, brought it down perfectly.
It's hands-on experience.
It's pretty incredible. Sometime after, Darren got himself a new cover for his golf clubs. It reads, "Not today." And Zach, that's our story.
Not today will he break 72, but that's okay.
Yeah, I guess not today for golf clubs could mean a couple different things, but
Yeah.
so true.
But that's a great one.
Wasn't that a really
That might be one of my favorite stories. I mean, I feel like I was in that story because Darren and I, although I've never said that I was a hothead, so.
No, you're not, but this story is really pretty special.
That's a good story.
Good. I'm so glad you liked it. Okay, if you liked this episode, like Zach did, go ahead and rate, review, subscribe, tell a friend. And please remember to join us next time when we will be exploring another transportation disaster story. Until then, remember to stow your tray tables, fasten your seatbelts, and prepare for the unexpected, because not every trip reaches its final destination.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.